Juve cast, and I'm Alberto, and I bleed black and white, as does my guest here, Ivan. And
Yeah.
we decided what better time than right now to start a little segment called Nightcaps. We're both loaded up nice, Ivan. Hope you had a good week, brother. How was it? How was your week, Ivan?
It's good. It was really good. Can't complain. And, been doing some work around the house, had some stuff. Um, uh, I'm hearing echo.
Oh, you shouldn't be. That's weird, man. You've got
Yeah.
headset on too. Should be no
Yeah.
echo. Should be
Yeah.
good. I'm not
Hold
getting
on.
any echo. Everything sounds good. So I'm not sure why it's doing that there.
Yeah.
You got a bit of lag there though.
Okay.
Disconnect the headset maybe, but we'll just introduce people to what's going on. So basically, Ivan reached out to me during the week here, and he had some topics that were kind of frustrating him that he wanted to discuss and he wanted to air out and vent. So we decided, yeah, we'll do this pop up. There's absolutely nothing on the agenda or anything that we're really set specific on, but we're gonna enjoy a couple beverages, a couple nightcaps, and talk a few things out. And it might be calcio in general, not just Juventus related. And we might play some games too as well. Ivan, I am getting some echo from your side.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to leave the studio and come back in and see what
Yeah.
happens.
So while we wait for Ivan here, I'll give you kind of a bit of a background. So basically, a lot of the discussion has been in regards to Pirlo. Pirlo, his tactics, Pirlo, and how the team shapes up and how they're mentally prepared to go at it with teams on a match to match basis. That's one of the things he wanted to discuss. Another one happens to be whether or not the deal was a good one for Juventus in terms of Danilo coming over and obviously Cancelo that went to Man City. It's been a slow week. What can we say? It's been a slow week. These are the things that have been circulating around Juventus, and these are a couple of things that struck Ivan that made him want to kind of start this dialogue here. I wanted to throw in a little mix. We'll have a couple beverages. We'll shoot the shit. It's not just going to be about Juventus. We'll talk about a lot of things, and we'll have some fun too. We'll play a few games as well. So, Ivan, everything's settled on your side.
It is. It is. So we're good.
Perfect.
We're good.
That's much, much better. Much, much better. So I filled everybody in, kind of told them the guidelines, what we were looking at here. And, I said a couple of things were Pirlo, how he prepares the team, his tactics were something that you wanted to kind of vent about. Another one was the Danilo deal. And basically, yeah, it was a slow week for Juventus, especially when it comes to news. And these are the things that fans want to grasp onto. And we'll chat about that. And I know there was a couple other things, and I want to talk about some stuff just in football in general
Mhm.
too, But I'm going to let you kick it off since you were the one that kind of wanted to start this. And what do you want to kick us off with, man? The Pirlo, the Cancelo deal? What is it?
I think I'm going to talk about the. We'll just get it out of the way. The Cancelo and Danilo, because I'm enough's enough. Like, we can chat about stuff, we can reminisce, we can vent about stuff about what Paratici's done, hasn't done, what Juve needed to do. For anybody that hasn't, I don't. This is nothing against new Juventini or Juventini that haven't been, that don't have my vintage or our vintage, right? And in the sense of, Juve has never been a team ever, been a team that has that has uh, I guess reminisced or I forget, I'm not getting the word right now, but has always overly thought of this the players they sold, right? Like, let's face it, we've in the last 30 years, Baggio has gone, Vialli has gone, Ravanelli, Zidane, Vieri, Inzaghi, like Paul Pogba recently, like Vidal. The amount of players that have gone and the ilk of players that have left Juventus. I'm not crying over Cancelo. Sorry, guys, I'm really not. Not, and it's clearly because, I think he's a. I think I was a bit harsh on Twitter, calling him mediocre. He's slightly above mediocre in my opinion. His fitness is top notch. He's a fit player. He runs. He's perfect for the English game. Tactically, he stinks. From a tactical standpoint, chess match, type of game that Italian soccer is, he's not cut. He's not cut for it. He really isn't. He doesn't have the football IQ, soccer IQ, however you want to put it, to play the game. And I think that we were talking about it beforehand. Had he had another year in Italian soccer, but then again, he played for Inter. Now, you can say, that's not that team wasn't that great, but he knew what the landscape was in Italian soccer. And I just feel that, he had a great first half with us. But I think people caught on real quick onto what his downfall was, or what his shortfall is as a player, and they capitalized on it. His defense is horrible, and he's a liability. That's why now he's in the midfield.
I got a couple thoughts on this. Number one, the deal is done. It is what it is, and it's not like it was a bad deal. But there's a lot of things that make me understand frustrations and why there would be frustrations from Juventini. And basically what it would come down to for me is that the decline of Alexandro is not something that's just popped up. Okay, so it's been a gradual thing. The nice thing about Cancelo is he's capable of switching sides. He's capable of going left or right. Did he have his cons? Absolutely. So does almost every guy on Juve's roster currently. Yeah. So it's like you got to give and take. It's no different than Juan Cuadrado, who's absolutely crushing it statistically. Yet there's a lot of cons to Cuadrado's game. But yeah, he's done great. Danilo came on the other side of things. We got the plusvalenza. And Danilo, even in his first year, was absolutely brutal. And everybody was saying, what the fuck did we do? So I get it on both accounts. But the biggest thing for me is the question of, and it doesn't come down to just regretting guys necessarily. It's just, again, the team and the quality. And I look at this team, and I looked at the team then, and there was a few guys that I said we should not get rid of. And when you looked at that roster, if Cancelo was one of the names higher up on that list of guys we need to move, I would seriously question that. And that's just kind of where I see the frustration. Not only that, but also in the fact that if we look at this team, you talked about it too, because you brought in the old days, when you get rid of Vieri, you get rid of Vialli, whatnot. The biggest difference I see, and why I could understand frustrations, is that back then there was this thing with Juventus where we could make that change, and you could bank on the fact that there would be a guy of equal or greater quality coming in. And for quite some years right now, that hasn't been the case. If you ask me to be 100% honest, I feel like we've let that standard slide a bit. And that's just me personally.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see the where people are having issues, especially is the midfield, and especially you can say the back line. At the same time, everything is done strategically, right? If we didn't get rid of Cancelo, De Ligt is not with us. That money was used for Matthias De Ligt. So, in my opinion, that's money well saved and well earned on a Cancelo deal that brought in Matthias De Ligt. End of story. That's just I'm going
But
for
again,
that.
we if you break it down with there being other guys, I think there's still other deals that could possibly be made. It's still, and that's just the frustration thing. It's not the frustration. It's everybody understands. Yeah, you bring in De Ligt, that's fantastic. It's a good piece of business. But you to question whether or not it could have been done in other avenues or ways is fair, because at the end of the day, for quite a probably 5 years now, it's got a feeling surrounding Juventus where it's one step forwards and two back.
Yep.
You spend a huge chunk of money, you bring in Gonzalo Higuain. We needed a striker. Absolutely needed a striker going into that season. And we get him, but we lose Paul Pogba. And then it's like after that, it's like, okay, we're going to go with Pjanic. Pjanic, we take him from an attacking mid, we put him in the back. He was good for a couple of years with Khedira there in a two-man pivot. And then after that, what was our midfield additions? Like Lamina, Sturaru, Rincon. Like, it was just like, where are we going, guys?
Yeah, I think for us, the big, and if people still think that we're not reeling from it or just not getting out of it, like COVID has stuck it to a lot of people, right? I still think that, up until 2015, 2014, we were still reeling from the effects of Calciopoli. Still, the remnants of it, people don't get it. Juve lost at least, I'm going to say, over €500 million, 500 million euros because of it. And there's a lot, and because they are they're a publicly traded company, because of now FFP financial fair play. You're not getting the time of Mochi where they could have been in the red 200 million euros. That's without any effect. That happened back then, right? Now that's not the case. So you got to be in conjunction with financial fair play. You have to be okay with the shareholders with the spend for the year, right? What the budget is, what they're willing to lose and what they're not willing to lose. And the decisions on what Paratici and even Marotta until he left, I'm sure in hindsight they wouldn't have extended Khedira. They didn't expect that decline happened so fast and so quick and just absolutely fell off a cliff, right? Like, let's face it, you wouldn't have, who would you have, given up instead of Cancelo? At that point, there's a saying, sometimes you're the statue, sometimes you're the pigeon or the bird, right? It all depends on how you look at it. So for the Barcelona deal, we were definitely the bird, and Barcelona was the statue with regards to Arthur and Pjanic. We were in the same boat with Cancelo, where we had to sell. We had to sell, and we had to sell by the I think it was June 30th, in order to make that year's financial books okay. And at that point, you can say that Man City took advantage because at that point Cancelo was a better player, or was touted as a better player than Danilo, and we had to take Danilo in that exchange.
I still had the same shout that I did at that time, and that was, for me, Sandro, man. Sandro. I would have kept Pellegrini. I would have kept Cancelo. You have more than enough coverage. And move Sandro. The decline was there. He was like, we were banking on this guy after he literally gave us like a great season and a bit of another. And then it was like, okay, fuck, there was teams after him for 60 to 80 million euros. I'm like, how do you take it? Take it. You had Pellegrini in there, Spinazzola, who was shining. And it was like, okay, bring him along. Then you pick up Cancelo on a sweet deal, and it's like, okay, yeah. Does he have his flaws? Sure. But Spinazzola came in that season, and he looked better than Sandro in the appearances he made. So I'm like, for me, move Sandro. He's getting older anyways, too. There's your money. He's worth a ton of cash. There's a ton of teams that would have wanted him. For me, it would have been that route. And then you have a couple players. We went in the following season with only Sandro. And I still say that season is a season we finally rode him into the ground, because now that guy, he can't even move, man.
No, yeah, after last season, not this season, he was dead at the end. He was complete. He was gassed. He's gotten a little bit back now, but he's gassed. Yeah. Sandro's completely gassed,
and like I say, I mean, for me, I understand the frustration. I can see why fans are frustrated, and to be honest, I think if we were to be honest with each other, that the standard, I feel, has kind of slipped a bit. You talked about, they had to work off the effects from Calciopoli and whatnot, right? And then now there's COVID and whatnot. But let's not forget, this club has also pulled in almost €1 billion from Champions League over those years, like from second year into the dynasty or whatnot until now and whatnot. That's a huge chunk of money. And when you look at our roster, how many guys on our roster walk into teams across Europe?
How many on our roster?
How many on our roster actually, like, would you say are legitimate world class, will walk into other teams' roster, like the top clubs in Europe will walk into their roster?
Okay, so both are keepers, not Pinsoglio, even though he's a GOAT. I still say Gigi and Tech would definitely walk in. De Ligt and Demiral, and now Danilo, to be honest with you, right? The way he's playing.
I question whether or not Demiral walks into a lot of clubs.
Oh, hey, listen, there was rumors about Liverpool. I'm not sure how true they were, but in the Premiership, he would tactically he would destroy them. Like, he's, when we're talking about quality of the football game and chess match, they're checkers in the EPL.
Let's go with Demiral and De Ligt. Let's go Demiral, De Ligt. Okay, but where's our midfield stand?
All right, well, that's the issue. So midfield, wing back, Chiesa would definitely walk into it. The way he's played this year would definitely walk into any team for sure.
I'll give you Chiesa for sure.
I'm on the fence with Arthur there. That's a 50-50. Rabiot, no. Definitely not. Even Ramsey, no. Who else is in our midfield, because they're all injured and J medical right now, for crying out loud. So, and then you would, of course, CR7 and maybe Morata.
I don't think Morata, man.
And Kulusevski, even though because he's still young, he's still
I don't know. For me, man, De Ligt, Demiral. I'll give you Demiral. The goalies, none of our fullbacks go in. None of our mids go in. CR7 goes in, and Chiesa goes in. Like, that's for a team like ours, and the amount of money, again, that we've pulled through Champions League and all this, and all these years of dominating domestically. I think it should be better. And I understand, and I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, Cancelo's not the guy that all of a sudden he comes in and he's making all these rosters. I'm just saying, I think fans get hung up on certain players when they do well. It doesn't necessarily have to be Cancelo. He's just the flavor of the week because it happened to happen, and he happened to cross a great ball in, and it was the one goal. It was the deciding goal of that match in Champs. But what it is it's just this feeling of the standard dropping. That's all. And I felt like we had this team, we had an opportunity, I feel, to really set ourselves apart. And while you and I laugh about Merda and these guys having to literally bankrupt themselves to challenge us or whatnot, in the same token, it hasn't taken them and a couple of these other sides like Lazio, Atalanta, whatnot, to really catch up in terms of matching us on the pitch. performance-wise, and it's a little unsettling, I'd say.
I think the only reason why they've caught up is because, oh, say what you want about Baltoni, there's consistency and a certain way that he wants you to play. Inzaghi's a fantastic coach, and he's got that team humming, and especially in Serie A, the way they play. So they know. I think that, be careful what you wish for, even though I still think the Allegri era was done. Allegri was done at that point. It's not that he's done as a coach. It just was. It was time to move
It
on.
was stale, man.
Yeah, it was stale. The cycle was done. Whatever, and it was stale. So I'm going to leave it at that. But I think with these other teams, the consistency has stayed. And they've had these coaches that are excelling. Like look at Napoli. Napoli's had just as many coaches as we had in the last 3-4 years, and they're in the same boat as we are. Great. I think Napoli on paper has got a really nice team, a good team, but they just can't. This is Gattuso's second season or season and a half in, and he's just, they're just not thinking or clicking. And the same would apply with you. I just think the inconsistency of the bench bosses, right? And that's not normally typical of Juventus either, right? Like three coaches in 3 years. That's not typical of us. It's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not typical of any Juventus side that I remember, unless it was that 1 year that Ancelotti came in second place with just as 1 point, and he broke a record too with points that year as well, but he was canned, right?
Well, what was the quickest canning? Was it Zaccaroni there?
Yeah, but you're talking about during a time that
Ferrara had what, 1 season?
Deschamps had what, Serie B? Was he in Serie? No,
Deschamps had Serie B. So there was a little changes in there, but those were the banter. That was the banter era.
Yeah, like before, so that era, like I kind of okay, put it aside because of the conditions they were put in, right? But if you look before that, and then after, like it was Conte for how long was he with us? 2.5 years, 3 years?
Conte was 3, I think. Yeah.
And then Allegri 5. Was it 5? Was it 5 years or so? Yeah. Okay, so 2 coaches in 8 years. That's pretty darn good track record, in my opinion, and a winning track record, right? I don't know. It's those. I think that also teams caught up to Juve's what Juve was trying to do, right, with their Bossman deals. Which, let's face it, the best Bossman deal in the last 20 years was Andrea Pirlo. I don't care. People can say Paul Pogba.
Paul Pogba wasn't a Bosman though, because he technically cost us $800K.
Yeah, but they're gonna say like it was similar. Regardless, the impact that Andrea Pirlo as a player for Juventus was off the charts.
Paul Pogba's in the mix though, because he literally brought in an insane amount of money.
Yes, that's right, 100%.
That's massive. But in terms of impact, both of them really. But Pirlo was massive. Pirlo led the revolution.
Yeah, like if there's any team, so we're talking about regret. I want to know how many Milanisti regret that he was sent away.
Well, what's funny with Milanista is I've seen both sides on Pirlo. I've seen the side that still hold him high regards, and I've seen the side that are a little petty about it, to be honest.
Yeah,
but it's really curious. I've seen both sides of it, and it's a tough one, man. I mean, I get it. We saw the same thing. Well, it's not even close to the same thing in terms of caliber or whatnot. But when Bonucci did it, and he went there with those intentions, that kind of stung a bit. And Pirlo had his dig, and he made his comments. It's even in his biography or whatnot. Yeah. It's even in his book there. So he had his little dig there, and he didn't appreciate how he was kind of thrown aside, thinking they pretty much dictated that, yeah, you're done. Yeah. And he felt otherwise. And funny enough, Allegri was at the helm at that time.
Yeah, yep. And that was the decision. And I think, even when Allegri came in, he had 1 season with us, and I think that's when he was done. But at the same time, we still had Pogba in the mid as well, Marquisio and Vidal, and there were still some legs left for us, right? So
Yeah.
I think I agree what you're saying, that we didn't really replace the caliber, but I don't think like those getting guys like Vidal. Like Vidal was a nice player, right? Coming from Leverkusen, but he made his name at Juventus. Like
Absolutely.
let's right. So that was who was scouting him, who picked him up, and that's it. So you know how many times can you go to the well and get that type of player? It's tough, right? Like there was a time where Marotta and Paratici could not do wrong. And I think it was between 2011 and 2015, 2014. They just could not do wrong. Even I love the Vucinic deal. I love the even all the deals that even getting Quagliarella in that time frame, like stuff like that. Those are deals that I think are under the radar, but they're worth something because they gave us quality strikers, and then they build up and they get their Higuains and the Dybalas, and even the Dybala deal, I think is underrated as well from
Dybala was a
Palermo.
fantastic deal.
If people don't understand that he's completely amortized. He was 40 million. Was it 40 million?
40 million.
Yeah. Okay. From Palermo, he's completely amortized now. Whatever they get is complete and utter profit. Now I'll tell you, we just recorded a loss. What did they say? 170 million something,
105 something.
whatever. Listen. I know you don't want to hear this, and I hope to God the kid gets it okay with his knee. I'd be surprised if they don't sell him this summer. I'd be absolutely surprised because of the debt load. I don't know if UEFA is going to relax the FFP again for this year. I've heard some rumors that if the fans don't get back into the stands at least by the end of this season, Serie A might shut down next year. I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, it's a crazy, crazy thing, Number one, I'd find it hard to believe that they wouldn't relax the fair play, because you pretty much have to. There is no revenue other than the tournaments and how well you advance. And the other side of it too is Serie A. These competitions are paying out the money and they're not getting the revenue in return other than the TV deals.
Yep.
So it's like something has to give. It can't continue this way. It can't function this way. So I kind of this is really, really a tough one, to be honest. I mean, I don't know, like where's the money come? And here's the other thing too, when we talk about all these deals and we talk about the Mercado, and this number came out and I saw, all the reactions on social media, and my tweet was very, very simple. It was, how can you be shocked at seeing a negative? I mean, we were in the negative before. Okay. And then COVID hit mid-season in that Sarri era. And we saw that we were at a loss, a significant loss even through there. And then we have another season, full season, with no fans in the stadium. Why are people shocked at seeing a negative? I mean, it's going to be there, 100%. Now we want to talk about the Mercado and all these players you want to bring in. It's really, really simple. It's the same ball game that we've been in from the get-go. And that's Juve must sell, but who's going to buy? Because every other club is in the same boat. So even if we want to talk about moving Dybala, well, who's going to do it? What's the deal going to be? And the other thing is too is, are you going to get the value you want out of guys? Probably not. It's going to be a very, very interesting situation to even run through. And real quick, David Bruno joining here. What a coincidence to turn on YouTube and have a reunion with both of you. Al and I having really good time. And David, thanks for joining us. I don't know if you've got a beverage in hand, but cheers. Happy Friday. Salud. And we are just shooting the shit about Juve FIFA Fair Play and all this, and we're gonna get into a lot more for sure. We're
Yeah.
slightly touching on the Cancelo deal, but I think we kind of touched on that, Ivan. It stems. It becomes like focused and honed in on a particular player, but I think it's a more bigger picture of how fans are feeling. It's just at times they don't necessarily articulate it in the proper fashion. It just becomes a flavor of the week, like Moise Kean scoring a bunch of goals. It's like fucking Moise Kean, but it is what it is. For me, being 100% honest with you, brother, at that particular season, I could have dealt with one out of those three going, and I said the same thing at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I could have dealt with one out of Cancelo, Kane, and Spinazzola because I knew where we were and what we had to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I said there's still other guys that need to go before these guys. But I understand you're not going to find a deal for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think losing all three was a big mistake. And that's just me shooting the shit honest, being 100% honest. I still to this day don't understand the Spinazzola one the most because I thought, man, this guy's he looks good. He can hold his own defensively. He's no defensive stud. He's no fucking second coming of Zambrotta by any means, but he gives you just enough at the back, and he really, really makes a positive impact up in attack. And I just thought, man, out of Keane and Cancelo, you make your pick or whatever. But for me, Spinazzola was the one that I was like, man, I really think we need to keep him. Factoring in what I was seeing out of Sandro and not being as happy, and the amount of money Sandro could have brought in too. So I'm like, holy shit. I was like, for me, Spinazzola is a no-brainer. Low salary, good, talented kid, fucking wants to be with us. Let's do it, So I understand. I understand the frustration. But I think, I also understand the fact of how tiring it can become when it's brought up in a certain manner. Because while there are many people that think of it level-headedly and just, are bringing up the discussion, there are a lot that I could see the frustration that just pound this Cancelo thing in. And it's like, okay, well, you're not looking big picture, whatnot. So I see both sides of it. I totally see both sides of it.
For me, to what it comes down to is that it's a business deal. Juventus is a business. It's a business. It's a company. They need to have revenue. They need to make profit, or at least not show as minimal losses as possible. I think that Man City caught us the same, not this at the same levels we caught Barcelona last summer with Pjanic and Arthur, because I can tell you there's a ton of Barca fans that are up in arms still with Pjanic and coming in, but we caught them. They needed the money, right? They needed not the money, but the actual money on the books, right? That 65 million, whatever we paid for Pjanic, and that's it. And I have a feeling that that's what was the case with the Cancelo. It just ended up, I'll tell you, lucky. This is where I'm going to give, and I'll give Pirlo his due, regardless of where I'm annoyed with some of the tactics, is that he's the renaissance of Danilo. I'm going to attribute 50% to him and 50% to the player. Honest to God. Who would have thought? Remember at right at the beginning of the season with that mini, training camp, you hear Pirlo's trying Danilo at CB. We're like, what?
Oh, I know. I laughed.
I like, what? Like, I was like, are you joking? And I'm like, I'm eating my words. Like I'm eating my words, because we love our boy. We love our golden boy. We love De Ligt. Our best defender this season has been Danilo, and it's not even close.
It's not for me too. The frustrating part is I'll be 100% honest with you. I follow players sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I know where you stand, and you're not. You don't get tied to any players.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I do enjoy watching certain players. if I find certain attributes that I like and I say, hey, you know what? Like I actually enjoy watching certain players play the game.
Mm-hmm.
I follow, and I have historically, I've followed quite a few players that have left Juventus. It's at the point now I can't even make a comment that's, just a comment. Like I literally put out, that's a great cross by Cancelo on that goal, because it literally was. It was a beautiful cross. I said, hey, that's a money cross.
But
And
that's
it
great.
turned in to this big, and I said, guys, I'm not implying or insinuating anything other than the fact it was a nice fucking ball. It could
Yeah.
have been Pep Guardiola that played the fucking ball from the sideline. I would have said the same thing. Hey, nice ball, Pep. But it turns into this big thing now because that is the time we are in, Ivan. With the social media, it's like everything's got to be blown out and analyzed and twisted and turned, right?
I'm with you on that. Like, you're allowed to say that was a quality ball. You're allowed to say that Man City played a good game. And I would never deny that. It's for anyone. I would even say, you know what, I really miss Cancelo. I think, my opinion that he would still be good on our team. And my thing is is that, okay, you can say that, is there, statute limitations with regards to when you can say that? It's one thing if it's Zidane, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can say, okay, after a year, Cancelo, shit, we know we're short on right and left backs. That's management, right? So we're thinking, why did we get rid of him? And I get that part, right? I get that part. But when a fan base, to me, some, not all, right? I mean, don't want to stereotype or lump everybody into the same boat. When I see some people saying that he's like the second coming of Roberto Carlos or Paolo Maldini, like he's not. He's not. Cancelo is and I said mediocre, but like a slightly above average player physically. I don't think tactically he was right for the Italian game. Tactically, I don't think he had it in him to play that chess match because he's run and gun. He really is run and gun. I want to go and I want to run, and I think that's not focusing on Merda too much, but that was what Hakimi did in Spain, and that's where Conte was absolutely ripping him at the beginning of the season. Why he wasn't being played is because that's not Italian soccer. Italian soccer is a chess match. People need to understand that. This is not the EPL. This is not Spain. The Ronaldo fanboys. This is not the Bundesliga, which the Bundesliga is actually a league that is very similar to Serie A out of all the other leagues, in my opinion. Okay, Serie A is extremely tactical, extremely hard, and it's physically demanding on all players, especially talented players. And it's also hard on a player that doesn't understand or learn the coach's system, right? And that's why there's a lot of coaches. Conte says, I can't, because he has a system. I can't believe they didn't give me this player because he has a system and he doesn't want to learn or change the system. Anyways, I think we've done enough on Cancelo. I'm okay with people saying, it would have been nice. Yeah, it would have been nice, but you know what? I'm not crying over the fact that we got 30 million in Danilo. I'm not, like, right now. Right now, if Danilo would have been a bust, then I would have said, you know what? Like, who it would have been an iffy of who won that deal, in my opinion.
And
right?
I get that, man. And I still think, as great as Danilo's been, it's tough when you factor in our state in the fullback situation and scenario. And I think it's a fair argument. I understand the frustration and I get it, man. When you hear the same things over and over, it gets tiring and it gets annoying and whatnot. But I honestly, I see both sides. I really, really do, my man. I see both sides of it.
Absolutely. Then that's, there's good and bad with management and what deals they do. It's sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I still think on this one, if we're talking about this deal, let's not talk about Spinazzola.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that deal either, to be honest with you. But if I'm going to say this specific deal with Man City, because of the way the player is playing, Danilo, and even Cancelo might be having a good season with them. I still think because of the way Danilo has played this year, and he's played himself back into, from what I understand, the Brazilian national team. Um, we're on top, especially because of that cash. We're on top. The 30 million plus him, we're on top. And from what I understand, Cancelo was making more money, from what I understand, from a wage bill. Anyways,
I think if you go team for team, they both feel on top. I think it was a good deal for both teams because if you look at Man City, Danilo's he wasn't contributing nothing. He wasn't even playing for Man City, and now they have Cancelo, who took time to settle in, but so did Danilo because his first year with us, he was garbage. We talked about it. So I think if you talk to both teams now, they're both happy, and ultimately, that's a good deal. If you can get a deal where both clubs are happy, that's great. We talked about the Arthur Pjanic one. Holy fuck, Barca must be pissed because Pjanic can't even get a start over a 97-year-old Busquets. So it is what it is, right? But I think it's more of an ongoing trend, not even a trend, but just feeling of one step forward, two steps back in mercados. And of course, you're right with COVID now. I mean, it changes things drastically, and you can't really even throw these particular mercados in the mix because it's completely different than anything going on. Every team's struggling. Right. There's no revenue. It's what do you do? I think all things considered, Paratici's done a fantastic job, and he takes a shitload of heat.
Yeah,
but I think this last mercado was perfect, and he got rid of minimal. He got rid of guys that, let's be honest, even Portanova, he was not exciting anybody from the minutes he was getting with the first team, whatnot. We've got Rovella, who's a huge prospect. Fagioli's now made his appearance with the first team, and he's highly promising, and these guys are getting minutes. Draguson's highly touted as well, and we brought in these young guys, and we're setting ourselves up for some moves in the summer, whether or not they happen or whatnot. Again, time will tell. But I think overall, personally, in my opinion, Paratici takes a lot of fucking heat that I don't think is necessarily justified, to be honest, because he had a mess to clean from his predecessor, if we're being honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I think honestly, I think he's done a good job. I think, honestly, between the two of those guys, you would have a perfect sporting director, because if you look at Marotta's, he can build teams. He's great at building teams, but sometimes he's a little too fucking stingy, Whereas Paratici, he's a little bit on the opposite end. He's a little more loose, but then he has to cover with patchwork. And that's where, you can kind of say it's a little tough. We seem to lack that balance when we're building the club, and it does become a bit of patchwork. And I think this is why we get into these discussions over past players, is literally it sometimes does feel like patchwork, and we get these guys in makeshift positions. And for me, again, if we go back to the grand scheme of things, not even focusing on names, okay? Not even talking about names. If you told me, look at this roster, okay? I'm going to show you a roster of a team. Uh-huh. This team has taken almost 1 billion euros out of one competition for the past 8 or 9 years. I would expect to see a stronger roster on paper, if I'm being 100% honest. Uh-huh. And that's where I think the patchwork kind of becomes and plays out. If we're being 100% honest, shooting the shit here, I think that's kind of what that feeling is, and why they get this frustration and whatnot, but then it just comes out with these fucking names and players and whatnot. But honestly, I kind of understand that. I kind of get that because if at the end of the day, one particular Mercado, we think that a group of guys is above another, and we move all three or whatever, all four. It's like, holy shit, did we just do that? And we pull in, great a Delict or whatnot. It's like it's offsetting, and this goes back to the Mercado where all of a sudden we got rid of Marquisio for no fucking reason, and we went into a season with 4 midfielders when we play 3 at a time.
Yeah.
It's a weird feeling, right? You kind of get that.
I think part of the Mercato stuff for me in the last 3 or 4 years, I would say 4 years ago, Juve was still not a destination for a lot of these top players. I would even go as far as 3 years ago that we weren't a destination. And I feel that the purchases of Higuain, especially the purchase of CR7, has changed that outlook for a lot of players. I think that the allure now Juve has an allure, especially the city of Torino, which I think not too many people understand the makeup of Turin and how and what type of city it is. And if you haven't visited, it's a little big city. It's got everything you want, but you can actually walk or be in Turin and not be mobbed like you would be mobbed in Milan, Napoli, Rome as one of the faithful. And I know some people are going to say, well, yeah, half the Juventus fans are not from Turin. That's not the point. You talk about CR7, the most recognized athlete on the planet with LeBron James, is able to walk down the streets of Turin without being mobbed. He could not do that in Madrid. The quality of life, on top of now Juventus being a destination and people understanding the type of city Turin is, it's now become Juventus has now become a destination. Because of their branding, because of what they've done so far with the team, the optics, everything that they've done. So, I'd like to say that, the Mercato in the last 3 years, you can argue back and forth. I really think that, if we were the destination that we are now, I don't think Pogba would have left. I'll be honest with you. If Pogba was happening now, the Pogba deal, right? Let's just say we're this far along Juve's plan or process or whatever they are, right? Where you are right now. Pogba doesn't leave. I'm telling you that right now. Pogba does not leave. I think at that point there was a transition. I think that there was an appetite from Pogba to move to Man United. Because of marketing rights with Man United and shirt deals and all that stuff, and the money that Mr. Raiola was going to make. But I have a hard time believing now, especially with Juve's shirt deal, because if I'm not correct, when did Nike move into out of the way and Adidas move in big time? Was it the year he had number 10?
I think it was just after.
Right? Was it after?
I think it was 1 year after he had the 10 with Juve.
So after he left, the year after he left. So I feel that would have had, there would have been, that's my opinion. I could be wrong, but for
me, the Pogba one, that one hurt, man. Like, I think, fuck, man. I think, honestly, he made a huge mistake. I think he knows it. I think that guy could have been.
He would have been,
and it's not to say he isn't, because I know there's a lot of Juventini that, and a lot of them hold personal issues against Pogba throughout the whole thing and whatnot, and they use that to. Let's be serious. Anybody that wants to trash talk Pogba and how he plays, he easily walks into our team right now, easily,
no problem.
It's not even it's a cakewalk Okay, so anybody that wants to shit talk Paul Pogba right now, I'm going to tell you right now, he walks in, it's nothing. For me, Paul Pogba made a big mistake, and I think he realized it. And honestly, Vidal did too.
Yeah, but Vidal was more. Vidal was he. That wasn't his decision. I think I may have told you, Mo told you this a couple of times. I have friends who live in Torino, and and the family members live like a couple doors down from Vidal. There's cops every other night. There's got to be Nieri there every other night.
So you think his words then about wanting to go somewhere to actually win the Champions League was just bullshit to kind of out of spite for him being moved?
Yeah, so as we know, Juve plays a lot of this stuff close to the chest. Any drama, anything that happens, if you cost too much stuff, you're out the door. You're gone. Like you gotta toe the company line. That's Juventus. If people don't like it, they don't go there. That's why Antonio Castano never went to Juve, even though being approached many times. He doesn't like being a soldatino, as he put it, right? And that's Juve. They are very workmanlike. Yeah, toe the company line. This is what you do. But then there's the difference. They win and other people lose. That's the way it goes. So I really think that what happened there was they gave him a couple chances, and it was, from what I understand, and this is hearsay, but Conte was the one that went to bat for him a couple times, and that's been said on Twitter a few times. But they could. I'm telling you, she was telling me that she would be over her mom's house, and literally every other night there was cops in front of his house. They had to have garbage in front of their garbage cans out front, whatever their mundates as they call it, whatever. It was brutal. Drinking, yelling.
Do you think that CR7 falls into that same guidelines, or do
One
you?
100%, because look at how he lives. Look at how he trains. CR7 trains like if he could train 24 hours a day, he would. He goes
But do you
home.
think if he was to break some code or like that, they would treat him the same?
Well, okay, so if we remember that time where he walked out,
Yeah.
right, and the next game, I believe he didn't play.
No,
Right?
he played.
Are you sure he played the next game? Because I remember him playing.
He played.
He did play. There was something where I forget what happened afterwards. So I'm like, this smells to me like, someone said something to him, but they're playing it off to be like this.
No, because we were all waiting. We were all waiting and saying, is he going to be allowed to just walk out of the stadium, leave the stadium completely because he was subbed? And he pretty much did.
Yeah. Do I agree with that? If that was Platini that did it when he was way back when, I hate saying that there's a double standard, and I'm sure he was spoken to, right? I'm sure he was spoken to. It's not going to be made public.
Oh, well, we know the players spoke to him because Chiellini spoke about it. And he said that the leaders on the team spoke to him and said, you as a leader can't do that.
Right. And so, but even I'm going to say higher ups, the players are great and they would be the first guys in his face. But I think that there was optics there. But then again, I also know that I'm glad that Sadi's gone because I think he's a dirtbag, and I can understand the angst against Sadi. I really did.
It's gonna break my fucking heart if Pirlo can't get this job done, and that scumbag Sarri actually pulled one off with us.
Understanding that we had. You talk about last year where Inter were not as good a team as they are this year. You're talking about a COVID year where he was lucky, because I'll tell you, had we not had COVID, the way Lazio was running, Lazio could have won the Scudetto last year. Let's call a spade a spade.
If we're being honest, Ivan, every other rival dropped the ball on that one. We didn't win. We were shit down the stretch too. They dropped it. We didn't win it.
Yeah, we didn't win it. And just like this year, I don't care, even with Inter being ahead of us and Milan, they're not doing anything special that they're running away with it. I can see Inter going on a losing streak for 3-4 games. I really
Yeah.
can. Like there's some sort of, I'm not going to say mediocrity, but I think that there's some sort of the inconsistency of the teams this year, and also the um, the condensed calendar and all these games being so many games. Like it's just ridiculous that I think that at any one, the team right now that's loving it is Inter. They're only in one competition,
Yeah.
Scudetto.
Well, we're going to get into Pirlo because I know that's one of the things you wanted to discuss, but we're going to take a little breather. Okay, we're going to have a little fun. I want
Okay,
you to pick a number between, let's say, 1 and 20.
so can I give me 1 second? Can I stop my cam? I want to get more of my. I already already drank it. I gotta get some more scotch in me.
Go get some scotch. I'm going to fill everybody in on what we're going to do here, okay?
I can hear you.
So Ivan's going to get himself topped up. I'm going to do the same shortly here, but we're going to have Ivan pick a number between 1 and 20, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to do some Juve-themed category drinking games, okay? So this one's going to be pick a number, and Ivan and myself are going to do our best to name as many players as we can throughout the history of Juventus that were to wear that shirt. Okay. So, yeah. And I think if we keep it between the 1 and 20, well, 1 will be pretty difficult. Actually, there'll be a few that'll be quite difficult to get deep in, but let's see where he ends up and with a number, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, the discussion, this has been great, Ivan. Um, you know, and I got to let everybody know if you're in the same boat, you got things that you just want to get off your chest, whatnot. I'm always game for a good pop up session like this. We just air it out. No agenda, no nothing, no schedule, no nothing. Just shoot the shit about football, Juve, everything, and we're going to have some fun. So, Ivan, I want you to pick a number. Okay. Let's get to a number, and then let's see. We'll take a little break from the topics for a second, and let's do a little categories here.
I'm gonna say if I can get the.
Well, what are you looking at here?
I'm gonna say I'm not. I'm looking at work if you can believe it. I'm gonna say number 26.
Well, I said 1 in 20.
Oh, you said
26
20?
would be
Okay.
very challenging.
18.
18.
18.
Okay. I'm going to kick us off with Moise Kean.
Wow. I stumped myself. I'm going to say, was it Darko Kovacevic? Was he 18?
Kovacevic. I believe he was 18. Yeah. I'm going to give you Kovacevic. I believe he was 18. Yeah. I actually saw a goal where he just assisted. It was on Juventus's Twitter account where he assisted Zidane on a beautiful chip, and he was wearing 18. So you're right. Holy shit, man. 18's a tough one. Mutu? Adrian Mutu?
Oh wow, that's a good one.
I think he
Mutu.
was. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
We need people to help us out here. Is anyone on like
Shit, I think Adrian Mutu wore 18.
Okay.
One season? Was he only with us for one season?
Yeah, 18's a tough number. I gave us a tough number, but I wanted something tough.
That's tough, man. Do you got anybody else?
No, you got me. You got me. I got myself. So I'll get you to throw a number out there.
Okay, I'm gonna go with. Oh man, let's go with. Shit. Should we just do 9s? Let's do 9s.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Oh,
so
look at old David Bruno coming in here with Anelka under 18.
oh wow,
I
yes, he
think he's
was.
right too.
Anelka
Holy
was.
shit, Anelka's one I forgot even fucking played for us.
That's
Nice
great.
pull, David. Hey, salute. Nice pull.
All right, so number 9.
Yeah,
Well, Gonzalo.
Gonzalo. Okay, there you go. And look at this. Michael coming in. Adrian Mutu first started with number 30 for the last game of his first season and then switched to 18.
Oh, good man. See that?
There you go. Okay, so you went Higuain.
Yes.
Well, I'll go Alvarito.
Okay. And was Amoroso number 9?
Ooh, so we got a couple guys on the live. We'll have to get them to be our judges. So Amoroso right now in question.
Oh no, I know for sure. Wasn't Boxic number 9? Boxic was a number 9
So
for sure.
Boksic, I can give you Boksic, but now all of a sudden you're taking guys away from me too. So now you got 2 guesses. Okay,
All
so
right.
Boksic. I'll give you Boksic 100% was 9.
All right.
So oh, well, fuck. Viali.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Luca Vialli was definitely a number 9. Oh my God. Oh, oh no, he was a 7. I'm thinking about. Oh no, who the heck was a number 9?
You got some help in the comment section there, Ivan.
Vucinic? Was he a 9?
Yeah,
Or
I
was he
believe
11?
I was Vucinic not. Vucinic was a 9, man.
Oh, he's a 9. There you go. I'll
So,
take that.
the
I'll
Vucinic.
take Vucinic. I'll take Vucinic.
Okay. Zlatan.
Oh, that's right.
Zlatan.
That's
By
right.
the way, side note. Zlatan's comments about LeBron James should not be involved in political matters. Agree or disagree?
I think so. What does he classify political matters like the Black Lives Matter and all that? Here's my thing: if we can't use our platform, like you use your platform for striped hearts and your platform for good, then why isn't he allowed to do it? I understand Zlatan, but I think that he's got to stay in his lane too because he hasn't walked now. I'm going to say this. From the age of 18 to now, or when he was in high school, LeBron James has lived a charmed life. Let's call a spade a spade. Okay? He has lived a privileged, charmed life. Okay? But he is trying to give back and trying to make things. There's something called equity and equality. There's 2 things. And I think, without being political, and I don't want people, rapping on this video afterwards. I think that he's allowed to use his platform for good as he sees fit. Just like Robert De Niro when he's up in awards and doing speeches, he's telling Trump to go fuck off, right? Like, let's face it, it's the same thing. He's using his platform and his thing to spit on his voice. Like you can't shut someone else up, and then with turn the face and say to someone else, you can say that, right? Like
For me, it's real simple. There's some that are blessed to have a massive, massive platform. If you're not using it to be a scumbag, good for you. It's pretty
Yeah.
fucking simple. If you're using it to try and make the world a better place, then all the power to you.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. Whether it's political or it's charitable or whatever the fuck it is, if it's for the better of society and just everyone in general, then just do the damn thing.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. So
All right.
Zlatan was my 9.
And we're missing our lifetime presidente. Giampiero Boniperti was a number 9.
Boniperti. I'm gonna go with Pippo Inzaghi.
You got me there. Hey, Super People.
Pippo.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. So I'm trying to think back. So I know, King David, what he was. So he was our number 9, but he didn't wear a number 9. He wore something else, which we all know that number.
There's a couple beauties for us that wore 9, weren't known as our 9s, but they had worn 9 certain periods.
So we hit Vialli, we hit Amoruso, we hit was Zibi? He was 11. Boniek was Zibi Boniek. Paolo Rossi was our 9. Wasn't he not our 9?
Rossi, Rossi was a 9.
Zibi was 11, I believe.
Rossi was a 9. So one of the two beauties that I know that wore this number, not for a long stretch, but they wore this number. One of them was Fabrizio Ravanelli.
Oh.
Ravanelli wore 9.
Oh, I have another one for you.
Go ahead.
Wasn't Marco Di Vaio number 9?
Di Vaio was a 9.
Yeah.
Del Piero at one point wore 9.
Oh, really?
He wore 9, I think, if I'm not mistaken, during the 93-94 season, he had a few matches as a 9, number 9.
Well, you got me then, because that's Di Vaio was my last bit.
I think we're missing Iaquinta?
Oh, yes. Yeah, Vincenzino was a 9. Oh, was Luca Toni our number 9 too?
Why do I want to say he wore like 33 or something? Might have to get somebody to verify on Luca Toni. I'm not sure about Luca Toni.
And how about Borriello? Was he a number 9 for us? Oh my God, these players! I love it.
Schilacci?
Yes.
Schilacci.
Toto.
And the only one other guy I could possibly think is possibly Casiraghi.
Casiraghi, I believe, was he 11 for us or 9? Oh, that's a good one.
Tough one, man. Tough one. That's a good one though. That number was there's a lot of guys.
Yes. I got another number for you.
Another number.
All right, let's do one more number.
Okay, let's do another number.
It's the classic number 6.
Ooh. So you want me to kick us off or
kick us off?
Pogba.
Oh wow. Okay. So I'm going to say Paulo Sousa.
Sami Khedira.
Oh, our God rest his soul, our best defender of all time, Gaetano. Shirea.
That's good. One of my absolute favorites. Not known for this number. Tacchinardi.
Oh, yes. Tacchinardi. Okay, so 6. Now I'm starting to slow down in the 6.
I just thought of a beauty for you.
Okay, and how about was Aquilani 6 for us?
Holy fuck, I actually forgot Alberto Aquilani was with Juve. Um,
I want to say Aquilani was 6 with us. Anybody figure that out? Let me know. But I believe Aquilani was 6 with us.
uh, Thierry Henry.
Oh yes. Oh God. Oh yeah. Yes. That's yep.
Is that it for
Okay.
6? I
Yeah, I
got
think
one more.
you got one more for 6,
I
eh?
got one more.
I'm just running through, the history in my head, like, who played a 6. Did no Sturaro never had 6. Or Paduin. Did Paduin have 6? No.
I don't think Paduin did.
No, I'm good. I'm good for 6, man.
My
I just
last
want
one would have been Zanetti.
Christian Zanetti. That's right. Oh,
That's a
yeah,
good one, man. That's a good one.
yeah.
Okay,
All
we're
right.
gonna wrap it up on
Yeah. The numbers?
the numbers there. That was a good little round, though. That's a couple of good
Okay.
rounds.
I like that.
That's fun. That's good times. That's good times there. Now, let's get to the task at hand, man. You wanted to talk about Pirlo, and I'm very, very curious
Uh,
as to what you think, what you feel, and what you want to get off your chest in regards to Pirlo.
yep. I I want him, like you said, you said it perfectly. I want him to succeed. I want him to do what he needs to do. And other people say, you know what, the injuries that he's had, yes, granted, right, granted. But there's certain things that he could do and that he could have done to make his life a lot easier, in my opinion. Um, you know, people are hard on him, and he's not scoring goals. But there's no one in the midfield that runs as much outside of the other Bernardeschi than the other Federico than Bernardeschi than Chiesa. And I feel the legs of Bernardeschi would do well on the pitch, and I feel that he's playing games. His confidence is you can see his confidence isn't there. But I think that there's an opportunity for Pirlo to do the same thing that he did to Danilo, and almost reinvent Bernardeschi. So I have an issue there that I feel that he should be playing more games, in my opinion, or at least being given. I don't like Chiesa being on the left. On the left, I hate it, and I think that he should, in my opinion, because Ronaldo is a liability going back because there's no defense. I think, and because Bernardeschi is not afraid to get his nose dirty, and I know Eric is going to love me for saying this, so I hope he sees this. You know, his confidence is low, but you cannot complain about the effort of Bernardeschi each game. There's never you can say quality, but I can never say that that guy left anything on the pitch. He's aggressive. He's on the ball. He's moving. And that's one thing. That's a minimal part. Secondly, is this hybrid 3 to 4 D that is constantly shifting, right? And that's annoying. Get these guys to play either a 4 back, and it's static, and it's a static 4, or a static 3. Reason being is that this is not Spain, this is not France, this is not England. It is a tactical league, and they will penetrate and take advantage of you. And you saw it with we had the possession, but with little difficulty on the counterattack because of the way we adjusted, depending on if we're playing the ball or in the offensive zone and having to get back. Inter totally tore us apart. And why? Because they have a player like Varela in the middle who tore us apart. So if you have a talented midfielder in the middle who's playing against Juve, and Pirlo's playing this hybrid 4-3, and they're pushing in and they're shifting, what happens on a good counterattack? You're opened up like a can of sardines, and look what happens.
Yeah,
Right.
I have a lot of mixed feelings about it, Ivan. To be 100% honest, I mean, if I look at the hybrid system and what he's trying to do, it makes sense to me because the guys before him realize, number one, we don't have the depth at the fullback position. So if you want to run the straight forward and you want the support to come from there, you're gonna open yourself up defensively, which is what happened and what it happened under Sarri. And if we remember, Sarri came out of the gates red hot, and then all of a sudden we started getting exploited, and he was like, "Oh shit!" And this shift happened.
Yeah.
And it kind of happened the same for Pirlo, but I understand what he's trying to do with the hybrid. I agree with you in the point that Bernardeschi, it was strange to me, and the only thing I could attribute it to was when he came back from that international break and he was playing fantastic.
Yeah.
Why his minutes disappeared. For the life of me, I cannot understand why they disappeared. That one kills me. In terms of Chiesa, from left to right, it's night and day how much better he is on the right side than he is on the left side. The problem becomes Cuadrado is a big portion of the creation and keeping the balance in the lineup. If you have Chiesa on the right as well as Cuadrado, it cancels out the balance and you become so heavy on one flank and you lose it on the opposite side when you have the midfielders. So I get all of this. I think the best thing, honestly, what I've been saying for a while is if Pirlo would split his pivots up, because against Merda, we got ripped apart because Ramsey in the first match, we got ripped apart by Merda because he had Ramsey on the far left, and every time he shifted into his attacking midfield position, the second Merda won the ball, they found Barella, who was open in the space Ramsey had left.
100%.
And they destroyed us on it. And for me, it doesn't make sense to take one of those mids to make your attacking mid out of the side. Yeah. Slap them in the middle. Spread your two pivots out and make them play up and down across the middle. Ramsey could do it. McKinney could do it. And to be 100% honest with you, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion, if the guy gets fit, Dybala's not going to go box to box, but he can flatten it out defensively and maintain that line and then be the link to go up attack. You can leave Ronaldo up high, and Dybala can do that. Kulusevski, we've seen now, is starting to play that ahead of the mids, in behind, and Ronaldo kind of takes over the top man when they're both together. But they still have massive, massive gaps between them because Ronaldo, he free roams a lot. And the one thing about Morata is he is very, very rigid. And you always know where he will be. We lose that when he's not in there. But honestly, it's the easiest thing Pirlo can do is spread out the pivots and play your attacking mid straight out of the middle and just make it easier and less awkward of this transition, and it's harder for teams to play through the middle, up the middle, than it is to play up a flank if you leave the flank wide open. The poor kid Frabotta was left to dry in that first matchup against Merda. Absolutely left hanging.
Would you say Bernardeschi would be an improvement to Sandro in the back?
Yes.
So would I.
If we lined up our defense, Danilo, Demiral, Delict, Danilo, Chiellini, Delict, and had Bernardeschi on the left, I'd feel more confident in Bernardeschi than I would Alexandro. And that's me being 100% honest, because at least Bernardeschi is going to bust his ass, and you know that he's got enough in the tank to support you on both ends.
The whole game. And it's the whole game.
Yeah.
His very quickly on Bernardeschi, his issue, you know what his issue is?
Besides confidence?
It's his makeup, his body. And this is something, because I think isn't Eric like some sort of fitness freak?
Eric is he's a personal trainer, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. So he can attest to this. When you change, and this is what happened to, this is what people may not know. This is what happened to Zaniolo. Zaniolo, if you saw when he got injured, the kid did a major transformation from when he first got to Rome to when he got injured. He's got bulked up. His quads almost like, I figure it's a Gricola 2.0 over here, right? With the way he changed. And the thing is that the stress on the joints, or the stress, first of all, your body makeup, you change the way you play and the way you are in the game. If you see Bernardeschi of Fiorentina and Bernardeschi of Juventus, physically, completely different player. Completely different player. Same thing with Zaniolo. Zaniolo got injured because it's amazing that Bernardeschi hasn't gotten injured because of what the muscle he's put on and how much bigger he is. But anyways, so just a quick fact about that. They're actually suggesting that Zaniolo do atrophy in order to reduce his body size, in order to rebuild his body, if you can believe it. Because they just can't. His body's not made to take that stress, but also changes the way you play. I would take Bernardeschi in the left. Who would you put in front of him in the left pivot?
Left pivot in the mid, or left attacking mid, the way Pirlo has been playing it?
So I don't like the left attacking mid. I'm going to be complete with you. I like a flat four. I like a 4-4-2 man. I'm a 4-4-2 guy, but I'm also a 4-4-2. I would even take the 4-4-2 in the diamond.
Do you want to hear what I think it'd be a suggestion I would make to this team? Is a 4-5-1 that turns into a 4-2-3-1 in attack.
I like the one being Ronaldo. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. Who's the five in the mid?
So leave them up top. Okay.
Yep.
Leave them up top. Deal with your 4 at the back. Put Bernardeschi as one of your left outside, complete left outside. Let's deal with Sandro at the back.
Okay.
Put Bernardeschi as your left outside. Your 3 across the middle. Now all of a sudden, if you're playing 4-5-1, that one true in the middle could be Morata. It could be Dybala. It could be Kulusevski to play that. Because defensively, the 4-5-1 shell, it's fine. Anybody can be in that one hole.
Yeah.
Okay. So those guys can rotate in that position. Ronaldo, you're up top. Bernardeschi on the left. Chiesa on the right. Okay. Your 2 mids, Arthur McKennie would be my go-tos. Okay.
Yep.
Is your two main mids. Bentancur, Rabiot, they rotate. And then you've got the best of both worlds in there, because you got McKennie's ball winner. You got Arthur, who's money on the ball, escapes the press. Your center backs, we've got a plethora. Take your choice.
Yeah.
Outside right, Cuadrado. Hell, I'd even put Danilo over Sandro on the left outside behind Bernardeschi. And I think that would be rock fucking solid.
I like the one, and that gives you more abilities to change the one going forward, because listen, we are missing a 9. Whether we like, besides Morata, I wouldn't put Morata in the 5. I'd put Morata as the guy if you need to change tactics during the middle of the game and you need to put in with Ronaldo afterwards or what have you. But Ronaldo has to start 100%. I like the one. I was thinking about that. I am a 4 whatever the case may be, my 4, and I've been hard on this guy, and I've actually said that, I lashed out on him. Bentancur's pissed me off this season because Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And it's just like, dude, get your head on straight, get it going. You have the talent, stop.
He's
Stop.
just terribly inconsistent.
But I would put him as a mezzala, right? Because that's where he's really thrived. And I would put Arthur and McKennie in the middle. And on the right, I would put Chiesa, right? And my top 2 would be Ronaldo and Morata or Ronaldo and Dybala, right? But also thinking, depending on your tactics, this is why you have to be strategic in the players you put on the field, because who's to say that Chiesa can't jump in and be that striker as well during the game, or you have to change tactics, right, and push him up, right? And let's just say you have to put Kulusevski behind him, right? But here's another thing. Kulusevski is a counter-attack player. We are not utilizing this kid. He is not a ponderer, the guy who builds play and passes back and waits.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're still not as vertical as I like us to be. Maybe just slightly better than last year with Sarri, but we're still more horizontal. And I'm done with that. Like, we need to be more vertical. And that's why, you know what, I thought about it. I was totally against it, Chiesa. But, like, God damn, he's the only vertical player next to Ronaldo. He's vertical. He's completely I'm at you. So the 3 players that go vertical on this team are the 3 newer players. And of course, McKennie, because he's always jumping on the play. I love it. But, the horizontal player, like the vertical players are Ramsey's vertical. He's always going towards the net. He wants to see the net. Of course, Ronaldo, he wants to see the net, right? But then there's Chiesa, wants to go at that net. He doesn't care. And I love that. The rest of the guys, and I thought, even with Arthur, at the beginning, he was pondering more and more, and then he started making more vertical plays and cutting balls through. And his injury is bad timing because I think that we were clicking. But ever since he's gone down, that midfield's falling apart because it's like you can't take it off him. You can't take the ball out. It's either you foul him or else he's not giving you the ball. It's like stuck to his foot, right? So that's what I would do. And on the other topic, I would play Gigi until he was in the ground.
And there you go. And there's the last topic, of what you brought up. They want to get Buffon. So are you talking literally make him the 1?
100%. He's been number 1 for so many years. So listen, I've trained keepers. I was a keeper. Even though I was vertically challenged at 5'9", I still train keepers. I train keepers, okay? So if you look at Gigi, even now to this day, one of his biggest attributes, even at 43 years old, is not only his mouth and his understanding of the game, it's his foot movement, right? Moving his feet. Just to give you some stats, Gigi has played 31 matches, from what I understand, in this year, 5 clean sheets. Tech, 41 matches, 9 clean sheets, okay? 26 goals and then 5 goals accordingly. So Gigi has, 10 less games, has gotten 5 clean sheets.
How are the match numbers so high? Oh, is this whole year?
Whole year.
Okay.
Whole year. Right? So,
so this dates back to like February of 2019 or 2020, sorry.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, to me, let's face it, like you notice it. Listen, ability-wise, Tech is a fantastic find. If we sell Tech tomorrow, we sell him for 40 million, even at his age. We're gonna make 40 million off him. Okay. Do I want to see Tech go? Do I want to see someone else come before we sell him? Yeah. Do I want to see Donnarumma? Hell no. Sorry, guys. For all you Donnarumma fans, I'll tell you right now, Donnarumma. Look, I want everybody to watch a Milan game and watch Donnarumma play a good team that's going to pepper him. And look at his footwork. Donnarumma is another, and it's not a bad thing, but he's another Francesco Toldo. That's the frame size. He's a big goalie. He'll only move fast up until a certain age, and then he'll start declining. He's big. That his age is what's giving him the ability now, right? Now, as Donnarumma gets older, he'll get slower. His frame, look at his frame. He's a big guy. Gigi was always a slim keeper. His build was slim. Like, he's bulked up over the years, but Buffon, when people make that the association, it's only their names. They are a completely different style keeper. Donnarumma basically relies on his size and his youth and agility now. Gigi's it's always been one of his attributes, but his smarts is out of this world. Okay, so for me right now, the way Gigi's playing, the way he directs the back line, the intelligence in which he directs the back line, the experience, just the experience, and you hear him. And you hear him because these people are here are getting pissed off that he says "porca troia" or whatever the heck he says. Like, give me a break, man. Like, honestly. So, for me, to me, it's plain and simple, man. There's positives when Gigi. There's always been positives when Gigi's in net. People say you're going to hurt someone's feelings, you're going to, mess up with the team's mojo. How can you mess up the team's mojo when you got the best goalie of all time on your bench? And still to this day, if he didn't play for Juve, if he did not play for Juve, tell me which team in Serie A where he probably wouldn't be the number one. Maybe Inter, because Handanovic is a decent goalie, but even then, I question that. Would he start with Napoli? Yes. Would he start with Lazio? Yes. Would he start with Rome? Yes. People say, would he start with Milan? Well, maybe not, because people like Donnarumma, but all those other teams, Gigi would be starting 1,000,000%.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the command for me is a big thing. We just overall look a lot more organized in general. Bonucci, I tie more to Chiellini than I do Buffon. I think Bonucci, he looks a different defender when Giorgio's next to him. I mean, I'm never concerned, let's be honest, either way. If Szczesny's in or Buffon's in, I'm not concerned one way or another. But I think it's a fair shout to say that we maybe gain more from how vocal Gigi is in comparison to Szczesny. I can't even tell you what Szczesny sounds like, to be honest. Like, and that's kind of the thing, is like, Gigi, you just know, you've heard him for so long. His voice is like, you just know. You can spot him a mile away. You could tell when he's on the bench, for Christ's sake, sitting next to Pinsolio. Goat, by the way.
Yes. Cheers to Pinsolio.
So the shout's there for Buffon. It's a shout that's actually been there for quite a bit this season, and I think the turning point was the organization and the command coming from the back in that return match in the Champions League against Barcelona.
It was evident. It's completely evident. And, I've heard Tech. Like, I geek off on this. This is where when there's free kicks against us, not too far away from the goal, or when there's a corner kick against us, I'm constantly looking at what if we get the shot, of course. Like, if the cameras aren't focusing on our keepers, it's one thing. But when you get that wide shot, I'm looking at what they're doing. And Gigi's constantly talking. Constantly. And if you remember, against Barcelona in that return game when we beat them, right after McKennie's goal, McKennie was all, he was happy he scored. And then he lets up and lets Messi shoot from about 20 yards out, just outside the 18-yard box. Gigi ran after. He saw him, came out and literally lashed out at McKennie. Say, hey, buddy. Hey, Texas boy. Good that you scored a goal.
That is the biggest difference I see that I was just going to talk about is it's moments where I see Szczesny a little too tolerant in terms of what we do and whatnot. And I know for a fact, because we've seen it for so many years, Gigi would attack whoever allowed that much space. And we see Szczesny holding back. It's his style, whatever. And I know that that's just perception, and some people will favor one style opposed to another. But for me, Gigi doesn't let that slide, and he holds the standard up here by doing so. The standard increase. These guys know they can't take a second off because Gigi's going to be right on their fucking ass.
Yeah.
With Szczesny, you just it is what it is. And it's not necessarily a knock on him. He just doesn't do it. It is what it is, you know. And Buffon's the greatest of all fucking time.
What I'd like the viewers to try, whoever's viewing this or will be viewing this, I want them to, if they have time, because I geek out on this, watch clips on 3 keepers. You can even go Schmeichel if you want, but there's 3 keepers you need to watch: Iker Casillas, Buffon, and Manuel Neuer. Okay, and it's look at their footwork. Don't look at the saves they make. So when you're looking at these clips on YouTube, because there's 1,000,001 for each of them.
Yeah.
Try to watch the video and put something over where you just see their footwork, and then go look at goalies like Van der Sar when he played, De Gea. Go look at even Donnarumma for that matter, and look at their footwork. And if you don't see a noticeable difference, then you got to go check your eyes, because there's a reason why Neuer is where he's at. There's a reason why Casillas was where he's at, and there's a reason why Gigi's the best there ever was. 1,000,000%. We're talking about even at 43 years old, Gigi is still quick. Now, if you want to look at prime, go look at prime Gigi in that. All right, look at prime Casillas in that, and then prime Neuer, which is still even to this day. Look at their footwork, and then you will see what separates them from the rest.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple things I want to wrap up on here as we get finished up. And one of them is, bringing it back to Pirlo. And, you're an old school fan. I'm an old school fan. And, we talked about the history of the managers and whatnot. And it's great that you can have 3 over the course of 8 years or whatever, 2 across 8 years, whatnot. But as the feeling starts to increase in terms of Juventini starting to have doubts, heavy doubts that Juve pulls it out in the screw. For me, it's not even close to over. Okay. No. And bit of interesting news surrounding Lazio that everybody's got to have eyes on. And my God, would this start World War III if Juve was to be awarded a 3-point victory if it is found that Lazio was toying with results earlier on in the season with those matches. So for those of you that haven't heard, this is the news.
I have not heard this at all, so this is news to me. I've been working on the house all day, so this is great.
So basically what's going on is Lazio is under investigation for tampering with COVID results earlier in the season. There is a potential, if found guilty, that Lazio would have 3 results overturned, one of them being the match against Juventus, in which Juventus would be then rewarded a 3-point victory.
Wow. And that's the game we tied at the last second.
There you go. So now, and you can see what I mean by World War III beginning. Should we have a game in hand? If all of a sudden we get that point, we now know that the date for this Napoli match, now that they're bounced out of Europa,
17th.
is the 17th of March. We win the game in hand. If this particular result were to be flipped, we're literally talking about 2 points out.
Oh my! And we're at home when we play against Inter. Oh wow! I didn't know this. Wow!
Well,
But could
this
you?
has been circulating for a few days, but kind of under the radar and low key. I've seen Maurizio post several reports on this so far, and it's going on in the background. And it's again, nobody knows how it's going to play out or whatnot. But again, this is just one of these things, one of these factors. But what I wanted to get to, Ivan, and ask you about is, in terms of this season, in terms of Andrea Pirlo, how he's done and whatnot and all this, do you keep him and move forward with him? What's your threshold basically on keeping him, or saying, no, we're allowing the standard to drop by keeping him? Where do you stand? How do you make that call if you're at the helm?
So, I think he's a victim of circumstance. I don't think Maurizio Sarri was, I'm going to bring this back to Sarri, was the coach that Agnelli wanted last year. I think he was he was convinced that they had to go another route over Allegri, who's a good friend of his. And let's face it, Allegri made him a lot of money. Lots of money with results. Let's face it. It's called spade a spade. I think that because of the money owing to Allegri, and who was still on the books last year for the full year of Sarri, and Sarri, wanted to coach, but he still wanted the buona uscita, as they call it, to keep some of his money. Got Pirlo up there. Pirlo's still inexperienced, but he's an amazing football mind. I think that his in-game tactics need work and adjustment, because I think he could have saved a couple of red cards this year had he moved a lot faster, right, in his changes, especially with five substitutes now. So I think that's, maybe he's a bit more stubborn than we thought, right? Which is a possibility. He could be a stubborn. We don't know him. Like people that say we know Pirlo, we don't know Pirlo the coach. We don't know who this guy is. He's a guy we see on TV for the last 20 years, played for for Juve, the Azzurri in Milan, and now he's a coach. And, we know him from, you can't impress him, right? So, like that stuff. So we don't know who he is. For all we know, he's an ass and he's stubborn, but it doesn't seem that way because the players really gravitate to him from what they say, right? And we hear that from Agresti. We hear them from other people that they really, appreciate him and are on board with him. I think that, I'm gonna say that if he needs to get past Porto. He doesn't get past Porto, he's done. Not right away. He's done at the end of the season.
Yeah,
he needs to get past Porto, and the reason why is that this is not, Ball Tony didn't got kicked out of even the Europa League. Juve is counting on this money. We're talking about millions being lost if they don't get even into the quarters. So let's call a spade a spade. He doesn't get past Porto. I don't see how you can save face.
Again, I think I can't help but feel for the guy in terms of the fact that I look at our team and I look at the main 11, and I think he's got a solid 11. And outside of that, I just think the fringe players are just not there.
Yeah.
I just think that those players out there on the fringe, I think he's got a stellar 11, and he's only had our best 11 available for practically nothing of the season. And when I look at this and I look again, when you start making these changes again, I think it's hard for the management to put him in a scenario where they say, hey, you didn't get us to this mark, when at the same time you could look at them and say, man, has the standard and the quality of this roster dropped off? Because I think it has. So I see, I get it on both sides, and everybody can say, hey, you know, like, we're going out on Porto. If I look at the first leg against Porto, fuck me, those are two bad goals where the players have to look themselves in the mirror and say, what the fuck, you know? For Pirlo, I actually do have faith that on the second leg, he's going to have us corrected and dialed in. What I am questionable on, how much faith I have that our guys are going to be able to play at the level that's required. Because we have had a tough time getting that intensity, that drive, and that focus for whatever reason. And now we're multiple coaches in, because this didn't just start with Sarri. This happened a year and a half into the end of Allegri.
Yeah,
And shout out to Juve Daily, by the way, who just joined us. We're wrapping up, and thank God, because I've had quite a bit of gin, but
and scotch for me too.
Yeah. So, but thanks for joining. Juve Daily. Davide going to be my guest after the Verona match on Sunday, so looking forward to that. But yeah, Ivan, you know, like, this is the thing: is the mentality, and the drive and the focus is something we've suffered for seasons now.
So, and I think that's part of the shedding of older, you know, players and the rejuvenation of the roster. You see the drive in Chiesa. You see the drive in De Ligt and in Demiral as well. But you know, it's funny. You see when fit, there's no one that screams more drive than Chiellini. He's always and Buffon. They've always been hungry. They don't give. It's the other guys that I think that, you know, like a Rabiot, great player, physical specimen, but it's just like he's looking like he's getting his paycheck and he's taking a Sunday walk sometimes. You just need more intensity from the guy, more grinta, more. Come on, buddy, show more emotion, right? And you just don't get it, and you know, like you get in Morata, or even, you know, I know you love him. I don't see that in Dybala for crying out. I don't see that he's got all the talent in the world, but what he's missing is that and I know you said it, and then we were talking about it. It's the alpha mentality, man. To me, the epitome of alpha are two players, maybe three on the team. Okay, to me, alpha is Buffon, De Ligt, Ronaldo. Maybe Demiral, maybe.
But the thing is that you don't need a team full of those guys. You don't.
No, you don't need it. But what you do need is a bit of that. And I feel that, you know, Dybala needs to shed the young player just coming up persona. You're now 27, going to be 28 next year. Like, you know, I know this year's been plagued with COVID and injuries. I get it. And, you know, and I feel bad because I'm going to apologize to him just a little bit, because with COVID, he had a bad GI. He had bad GI stuff going on, and I just had it. And I feel like it's God telling me, don't be hard on this guy. Before Christmas, I had a bad GI episode, and it wiped me out. Yeah. And like no energy. So, you know, and Rocco, our good friend Rocco Catanaccio, and you know, he mentioned, he goes, he doesn't have the legs or the muscle for it. Like he probably hasn't eaten, or is not nourishment. He's sluggish. That's all the GI that did it to him. And I feel bad for him. and that maybe
It
those two.
sucks the hydration out is the biggest thing too. You're
It's
constantly dehydrated.
yeah, he was like and his tone was off, his muscle tone was off, and I was a bit too harsh with him on him. But what I do want is, snap out of it, Snapperhead. You got this. Like, you may not be physically there, but make those plays, or don't get pissed when when Pirlo's sitting you, because you shouldn't be. You're not fit. You're not match fit. So I'm hoping he gets back as soon as possible. I hope his knee is good. They said that he probably wasn't going to need surgery, which is great. But
Yeah.
Pirlo needs him. Pirlo does need Dybala. The team does need Dybala.
That's the one thing I said just recently is I said, look, no matter how anybody feels about this kid, we need him. We need him. We're going to need him down the stretch, and he's going to have to play a pivotal role. The knee injury, this is it sucks. It's the shits. The good news is he doesn't need surgery, but Jesus Christ, it's been 15 to 20 days for a bit now, and we got to get this kid back, and we got to get him going. When he's at his best, for me, he's one of those guys I just love to watch play, man. And that's the thing is we need that Dybala. Whether we're going to get it, who knows? Time will tell. But Pirlo, for you, in terms of him, if he doesn't get by Porto, say that's it. For me,
he's in trouble. He's in trouble.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that's.
I think the board's got to look in the mirror a bit too, to be honest. I think we have to commit to something. That's one of my things is I don't want to see a carousel coming up when I feel that they are a strong contribution as to why we would be bounced by Porto. And again, factoring in the history here, Allegri got bounced by a team that had no heart and spirit to Ajax. Sarri got bounced to Lyon. And now Pirlo, should we get bounced, which I actually feel confident we will not. I'll state that right off the gate. I think he's going to get us through. But again, the framework is all them, man. Honestly, and this is not something that's just crept up under this. They have to, at some point, hold themselves accountable, buy into this change of philosophy that they wanted, whatever they wanted, and actually commit to it and stop basically hiding from their mistakes or placing blame. I don't think Pirlo is solely at fault. Do I think Pirlo's done everything right? Absolutely fucking not. 100% he hasn't. But if I look at this team and say, has he done the best with what he has? If we look at the circumstances, and I personally feel that our best 11, and I think we can all agree, our best 11 has not been available to him nearly enough.
Yeah.
And if we look at this team, again, we are in the mix for Serie A. We are still in the Champions League. Should he get us by there? We're in the Coppa Italia final. I think he's done a good job. We won the Supercoppa. I think he's done a really good job with everything that's gone on this season and the fact he had no preseason. And a lot of new faces, a lot of changes. I think he's done enough already right now to say that, hey, we should probably commit to him, continue this project, which looks very, very promising, and continue to move. That's just me.
Yeah.
And Vishwajit saying, do we even know our best 11? For me, I'm pretty confident in naming my best 11. The only problem is there's a few roles that change based on form.
Who's your best 11?
Okay. If he's fit, Chiellini makes it in my back four. And at keeper, I'm confident with either one of them, to be honest. Tech or Buffon, I have no problem. If he's fit, Chiellini is in for me. De Ligt is always in there. Danilo is in there. Okay? And then on the opposite side, Quadrado. So I would have my back line, my best four back line for Juve is Quadrado on the right, Danilo, De Ligt, and Chiellini. And then ahead of that, I have Artur in the midfield. I have McKennie in the midfield. I have Chiesa on the right. And I have, I would honestly, it goes against a lot of people, but I'd have McKennie as that attacking mid. I would change the way we play, but I would have Bentancur in the mid as well. And I know that's against what a lot of people believe, but I would. Up top, I think this is where you go with form. Ronaldo's always in there, but for me, the way Morata plays it, even if he's slumping for goals, for me, he plays it differently than anybody else we have, and he should be in there. And I would do that. And I think that's how you go. Personally,
my only change would be Buffon. Otherwise, I line up the same way you do on a 4-4-2. And if you're talking to me on a 3-5-2 and a proper 3-5-2, 3-5-2. If you're doing a proper 3-5-2, I'm going. And people may question me on this. Proper 3-5-2 is Chiellini, De Ligt, Danilo. My five on the left would be Bernardeschi. On the right would be Chiesa. In the middle would be Arthur. On the left side of Arthur, on the inside left, would be McKennie. On the inside right, you guys people may say, well, what the heck are you doing? I'm going Bentancur. Yeah. I want how they say in Italian, un centrocampo a rombo. I want lots of lungs in the midfield. Yeah. And the only guy that may not have the lungs is Arthur, but Bernardeschi's got lungs. McKennie's got lungs. Chiesa's got lungs, and Bentancur's got lungs. And then my top is Ronaldo and Morata. And then depending on the play and how you get guys in and out, things change during the middle of the game. You have more options then, because then you can bring in a Quadrado, you can bring in a Dybala, and not necessarily Dybala to take one of the top three out, the top two out, the Dybala to slip in somewhere, right? Yeah. So that's how I would,
if he played a proper 3-5-2, which we've only seen a couple times, it'd be a different story. But he really likes his 4-4-2 and shift. But yeah, I'm agreeing with you. We're very, very similar in our best 11, and I think again, when you start looking outside of that, is where you start to see drops. And the reason is another reason is a lot of the guys we have are the same type of player. We're missing certain traits and abilities, especially out of the midfield, and it is what it is, But
and I played a 3-5-2 in Italy only. Yeah. Europe, it's out the door.
There you go. Real quick, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna finish up as we're wrapping up here. That was kind of our last, and for everyone that's joining now, just so you guys know, I will be back. I'm going to go get some rest and then be back at 5 a.m. for the match day live. Okay.
Wow.
And then I'll be doing a live reactions as it happens for the match, during the match. So if you guys are taking in the match, join me on YouTube. We're going to watch it together and react and share all the moments. But real quick, we did the numbers game. We had fun. We were playing categories. We went through 3 numbers. We're going to say pick a letter this time. Pick a letter, Ivan.
Oh, wow. Okay. C.
C. There you go. Name players that played for Juventus whose last name begin with the letter C.
Martin Cáceres.
I'm going to go with Moro Camoranesi.
Oh, wow. Okay. And that's oh my God. What? Giorgio Chiellini. What am I doing? Come on.
Giorgio Chiellini. Nice. Ooh, fuck, that's a tough one. C. Why can't I think of? Oh,
Come on.
Conte.
I was gonna say. Oh my god. Kaziragi.
Oh, I said him earlier too. That's a nice one.
Uh-huh.
Ay, I'm having a tough one now, man. So I'm trying to think here with a C. Oh man.
Yeah, I know.
Ah,
If you get one, I'm at a loss, eh?
geez, man. I don't know if I got another one in me.
Oh,
Might have to
bruh.
drink up on this one.
I can. Oh, look at that. You got one. You got one.
Oh, Vishwa G coming in with Douglas Costa. Nice pull.
Dude, come on. I can't believe you didn't get this one. We didn't get this one. Chiesa.
Oh
Church.
my God.
Church.
Freddie Church.
Freddie Church.
What about, would this still count even though he had De in the last name? Deschelli.
No, but Michael got you a good one.
Paolo Deschelli.
Yeah.
What does he got?
No,
Oh, Criscito. There you go.
yeah, Grishito. Hold on. I'm thinking, which is hard because I shouldn't be thinking.
I got one.
You got a good one?
Yeah. Well, not a good one, but I got one.
Oh my god. I'm stumped right now. I'm stumped.
Kimenti.
Oh, no, Kimenti. I love it. No, Kimenti. That's great. No,
Oh
that's
man,
good.
that's good times. All
All
right.
right. So I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
If you can get the three things from Juve, three players from Juve for next Mercato, name the three that you would like to see.
In a dream, like a fantasy football scenario.
Yeah, fantasy. You can. We make the rules here.
Locatelli.
Uh-huh.
Unpopular opinion, but I take DePaul over a
Oh
lot,
my god.
and I take Haaland. Those are my three.
Are you in my head? Because people like I was gonna say I don't want to see I want DePaul, I want Locatelli, and and then you can with those when people say Paul, I want Paul. We don't need Paul right now. With those two guys, I want Holland is the 9. He is absolutely lethal. That
He's unbelievable, man.
And I know I got crucified in the last one. I would take him over Mbappe any day, every day, all day, twice on Sundays and Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays, whatever. Over Mbappe, man. Over Mbappe, no problem. Call me
Well,
crazy.
there you go. And just like that, man. Dude, this has been a blast.
Yeah, man.
I
Look,
absolutely love the pop-ups. Salute. I love finishing up the week, getting ready for the weekend, another weekend back with a Juventus match. I love it. Vishwajit telling me to take it easy with all these shows I got coming. Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. I got it all under control. All under control. So make sure you guys join me live at 5. We're going to preview the match with Verona. I got another great guest from Ireland, Colin, who's going to be joining me, big supporter.
oh, awesome.
So Colin will be joining me. Also a Bianconeri YYZ member, Colin.
Yeah.
So that's going to be great. Yeah, by all means, you guys, Ivan, obviously one of the, not just a member, but you're one of the founders, right?
Well, no, actually, I was I did a lot of like volunteer work with them. So the founders with the group was Rocco Fasano, which we all know is Catenaccio, Stefania, who's the president, James, who's also in there as well, and so on. They're doing a great job. Everybody, just go to Bianconeri YYZ. We're constantly growing, and I know it's tough. A lot of the benefits is is to go to Turin, but once we open up from COVID, and hopefully that's sooner rather than later, we can all get together and take a pilgrimage to Torino. But a great club, great people, and you know we're always happy to have you as part of the club, Alberto, and
I
a good
appreciate it, man.
and a really good friend of mine, Rocco Fasano, who's of course, as well. Fantastic guy. Who's Rocco? I forgot to mention. I'm not sure if I mentioned Rocco or not. But Rocco is absolutely an incredible person, who deserves a lot of respect and a lot of thanks for where the club is at. He's absolutely an amazing person. So
Absolutely. It's a great group. And everybody, if you're wondering, you don't need to be in the Toronto area to join Bianconeri YYZ. That's
I'm in
the
Ottawa.
beautiful part about it. I mean, I'm on the opposite side of the country, and I'm a proud member of the Bianconeri YYZ. It's a great club. Doing a lot of great stuff with the post-match meetups virtually, and hanging out and just talking, and it's great. So check them out, 100%. Rocco's a beauty. Rocco was my first ever guest on the podcast.
Oh wow, that's
And
awesome.
it's fantastic. I'll never ever forget the messages, and the constant support ever since day one from Rocco. And we've got something very special planned for you Juventini coming up, Rocco and myself, and it'll be around the weekend of March 13th.
That's
Uh,
amazing.
so make sure that you guys have that in your calendar, because it's going to be a Mercado special with a very special guest. Okay. Very reliable source joining us on the 13th. Now, my Italian is good, not to the strength to carry a full episode. And that's where Rocco comes into play. And that's where I'm going to leave it. But March 13th, make sure you guys stay tuned. It's going to be a great show. And you guys will have an opportunity to ask questions to the source live. And take the advantage of that, right? These are beautiful times with Juventini. So many great content creators, and putting you guys in touch, and man, I've been a sports fan for so many years, and the leaps and bounds that we've been able to accomplish and get to now is unbelievable. Because when I was growing up, to be this close to the game, it just wasn't so right. So it's pretty cool. So make sure you guys all stay tuned for that. That's gonna be coming March 13th. And by all means, if anybody feels like Ivan did, where you just want to talk about a few topics, you just want to get something off your chest, we can make the Friday nightcaps thing happen, where we just air it out and let it out. But Ivan, this has been a lot of fun. We threw in a couple of great little games, Juve themed category games. A lot of fun, and I'm always up for it. So by all means, thank you everybody for the continued support. Thank you, Ivan. Salud.
Salute.
We will talk at 5 a.m. As we get ready for Verona. As always, Forza Juve, fino alla fine. Ciao a tutti.
Ciao.